Where are you, Dave? There you are. All right.
Hey.
Hey, I'm Sean.
I'm Dave. This is Barstools and
Bandtalk.
Oh, nice mug there, brother. Nice mug.
Not bad. Or as we like to affectionately call it, the Seacrest Momoa Show.
Oh, yeah, nice to say this.
Thank you, Tommy Maillet.
Mm-hmm.
We have a treat for you. Actually, this interview is being done in the tomorrow for all you folks, and you'll get that in a second. This young lady, I've known her a long time. Dave's known her a long time. And we're excited to have her on here.
She's really part of our Women Who Rock the Maritime segment, and she rocked it pretty hard for a long time. You know, the number of bands. We're going to hear from Dr. Kathryn Clark all the way in New Zealand. Please welcome Kathryn Clark. Oh wait, 15 hours ahead. 15 hours takes a long time to get here. There she is. Hey.
Kia ora.
How are you?
Very well.
Welcome to our little show. So Dave did this beforehand. For some reason, my video is frozen, but we'll get her going. So you're a doctor now, Kathryn. What's this right here?
It's your finger.
That rash that you need someone to look at? Yeah.
Great to see you.
Nice to see you guys too.
Been a long time since I've actually talked to you. Oh God, it's got to be, well, we'll say 20 years, and we'll leave it at that.
Wow.
You
were like 5 then, Kathryn. Were you? You must have been like 5.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why don't you tell us where we're talking to you from and how you wound up there?
Yes. I'm in Auckland, New Zealand. I've been here since permanently since 2003. I visited here in 2001 for about 4 months as well. And I initially traveled here, decided I liked it. I had some family who'd already migrated here, so had a cousin and aunt and uncle, so I could have somewhere to plant my feet if needed. And I had applied to a few medical schools and decided I liked Auckland, so I applied here as well and got into medical school here and took it from there.
I love you, because Dave and I barely graduated high school, so you know.
So let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning for Kathryn Clark, because I mean, well, first of all, let's answer this question. Now, New Zealand, now you can't compare Australia and New Zealand. That's very important, okay? Because I don't like that at all. It's kind of like saying Dartmouth and Halifax are the same thing.
And Canada and the United States.
Okay, perfect. But when you flush the toilet, which way does the water go?
Straight down.
Hard-hitting journalism here. Nice question.
Experimented numerous times.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to throw something out, because I think the first time, Kathryn, you and I crossed paths, and this would have been a long time ago, you were in a band with Angelo and the boys, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Powerline.
Powerline.
That was our first band. That's them there. I dug this out of the...
Oh, cool.
That is awesome. What I remember about you more than anything else, and I don't mean this with anything but what it was, we were always had male singers that could barely keep key, and I remember, wow, there's a girl that can really sing, and she's singing in key. But I mean, I just remember you, a ton of energy, great voice. It was a great band. Mark Perry was in that band, was he not?
Nope.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a different band, but I do remember, though, just bring it every time I saw you, just powerhouse. So how long were you singing? Like, well, where did you grow up? Where did you start?
I grew up in Halifax.
Okay.
And I've been singing always, pretty much. I come from a very musical family. My dad was a well-known in Halifax actor and musician, Sudsy Clark, and then he worked for CBC Radio as well. And so I was always around music, and music was my thing all the way through high school and afterwards. Had a few bands in high school, variety shows, musical theater, blah blah blah. And I was studying music at Dell, we started that band, Powerline. So Alan Porter, who played bass, Angelo Cathados, I think you guys know, played guitar. The three of us were all studying music at Dal, and formed a band there, and we did lots of campus stuff. And then Dave, I think you played with us briefly while we were still at Dal, or just shortly thereafter.
This is how well I get along. There's always 6 degrees of Dave McPherson, but it's true. You guys were all at Dal, and you guys, you know what? You guys took me to my very first frat party, and I was scared to death. I mean, I was like, oh my God. I was like, like Sean said, I barely finished high school. These guys are in the second, third year of university. It's like, I just felt like, but it was a lot of fun. It was a good time for sure. And now the drummer was who?
Where we were getting electrocuted.
Yeah, there was some crazy room. It was like a NPR room or something. I don't know. Yeah, it was bizarre. And who was the drummer in that band? That was Bubba Nickerson.
We went through a few drummers, like Spinal Tap-ish, but we ended up with, I don't know if you know Paul Nickerson,
yes.
Bumper. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he was our best and most beloved drummer.
He was there when I was there. I think he was him. So yeah.
He might have been, yeah. So good. Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, so then you're in Powerline, and you're getting some notoriety. Then you're doing some Dallas shows around campus, but then you're starting to shift out into the clubs too, right?
Yeah. We were with Marcel Cloutier at Talent Source. Garth and I were reminiscing the other night, thanks to you guys, about how lovely Marcel was, and we did a lot of the same circuits that everybody else was doing at the time, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick kind of stuff. Yeah.
Actually, Marcel still he books my band and still does a great job. One of the few. I do have to back up for a second. It's really funny how the 6 degrees of Dave McPherson always involve people with college educations, but anyway. So Dave, come on. There you are, bud. With no joking aside. So I remember you guys Sahara Jack, so you were I remember you guys playing a lot, and we had Sean Bird on. We haven't aired the piece yet, but we had talked about how there was the band that Garth and I were in, and then Sahara Jack and Crossroads were kind of the three that were always playing, and then we all just kind of went away in one way, shape, or form, and then Seamus kind of slid in and whatever. But tell us about Sahara. They were a good group of guys, and we shared the circuit with those guys a little bit.
Yeah, I went through another little bands in between. I played with him. I don't know if you remember Joanne Robichaud. She's an amazing guitar player back in the day. And Hughes and Reese Nearing the bass. And I did that rock musical Dorian. I don't know if you remember that.
Okay.
A lot of fun. And I played a bit with what else I play with in there? Just lots of little things in there, and then Sahara Jack. So we had Tony and Andy and GR and myself. I think they had were they Fatal Attraction first? I think
they had Mind's Eye first with Chad Campbell.
Yeah,
I think they had Mind's Eye first, and then that turned into Sahara Jack pretty much.
And Frank Healy was singing with them, I think, just before me.
I think Fatal Attraction was after you, was it not? Maybe it was. You're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know what year that would have been.
Yeah.
You're quite.
I started playing with them around '92. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right then. You're right.
I think.
Yeah, you're right.
1993. So and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a good band, and we did have a lot of fun. And again, same circuits as everybody else. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Kathryn. Since you mentioned your dad, and there's a picture of you sitting on your dad's lap with this. He's got the pipe in his mouth. I freaking love that picture. It's a perfect maritime picture. As a little girl sitting on her dad's lap with the pipe, and it's like, oh, I love that picture. Now, what did your dad and your mom think while you were going to university, studying music? It's like, I think I'll get out of school and go join a rock band. Like, what was going through their head at the time?
They're pretty cool. They were they're the kind of parents who just supported you no matter what, and they weren't together. So, but they were both really supportive of whatever I wanted to do at the time. I think they were just happy I was still in university and still doing something, and still, you know, not just singing in a band, but yeah. And then I went back to university after that to do, I did kinesiology. So I did a 4-year degree in kinesiology, and then after that I did medicine. So a lot of university.
Yeah, she's an underachiever, folks. An underachiever, Kathryn Clark is, yeah.
Yeah.
You and I are underachievers.
Now let's bring it back to Sean McKenna, because I know that there's an opportunity here where Kathryn Clark gets involved with Sean McKenna's little band at some point, right? For an album or something. Is that right?
Well, you know how we all knew each other. Everybody knew each other in that bar scene. So it was, they invited me to come along and do some backup vocals for the Sex, Lies, and Audio Tape album that Jack Butler recorded. So that was heaps of fun, actually. I had really enjoyed that. That was awesome.
It'd be funny because when we were recording, I remember Garth and I were kind of, we were pseudo alt production guys in terms of stuff that we wanted. And I remember, believe it or not, when you and Ron and Kevin did the backups to Hurricane, I just remember hearing it in the studio, like just with no music, and it was just so cool. I actually still hear it, and it's like, you know, it's fantastic.
You're very kind. It was a lot of fun.
Go back and listen to it. It still stands up, I think. But the one thing I do, Garth, great idea, and I want your stocks. And you were a sport, but I do remember, and I think about it now. He was going, and I know you're going.
You really went there, eh?
I missed all of that, I'm afraid.
Okay. When I want your sacks, Garth and I get this great idea. I think about it. You were going, these guys are losers. I'm going to be a doctor. Frigging, I'm going to do it anyway. And then, you know, I just remember it was fun. And I remember we were doing it in the studio with JP and Reg McMichael, Kevin McMichael's brotder. And they were going like, man, these guys are knuckleheads. And I just remember you being like a real pro about it, and us thinking, man, we're so cool. And do you remember much about that recording when we did it?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It was unforgettable, really. It was a lot of fun. You just got to put that stuff in your stride, don't you?
Well, and it was one take. So
one take.
Garth and I fumbling through the gang vocals on the tune, and Kathryn does her piece in one take. So what does that tell you about, you know, the way it went down? But I do, and you know what, I don't have a chance to listen to that much anymore because it was on tape. Nobody has tapes, but every time I do listen to it. Hurricane stands out, and I do remember you came. I think we were doing the Q104 or something or other. You came up and did backups with us, and there's still video floating around. I do remember. Again, we could never do the song live because we went for it with the backups in the studio and just kind of I could never replicate it.
It was all good. It was good. It was really, really fun. Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. So you go from Sahara Jack, which had a good run. So Powerline ended, I don't know what year that was. Sahara Jack with Andy and Tony, GR. Then they carried on with Knucklebones, I guess is what they did. And so you went back to school at that point. Is that right?
I did, and I was singing with a guy called Alex Mason. He worked with BBC Radio. You probably hear him like Maritime Noon, I think, things like that. He was a really fantastic folk songwriter, folk rockish kind of stuff. And he and myself and David Bradshaw, who works at the Folklore Center, and is an amazing vocalist and guitar and fiddle player.
Yes.
We had some very, very sweet harmonies and just a really nice, a really good recording. And I played with them for a long time, probably a good almost 10 years, I think.
Really?
Yeah, all up. Just sort of, we started out with me just doing some session stuff for them, and then we all ended up together.
Wow.
And yeah, there's a guitar player as well, Rob. His last name escapes me for a minute, but lovely, lovely guy. I'll think of it.
So now that brings it up to, well, you're into the late 90s, I guess, then now, or early 2000s.
Yeah. I think Rob Gooding is
Oh,
the guitar.
yes.
Yeah. And I think they were probably the last people that I played with in any kind of sort of, you know, organized way.
Right.
And then just lots of little things here and there on my own. Yeah.
So are you still doing much playing and singing now? Like, obviously you're busy with your career, which is probably a huge undertaking. Well, would be a huge undertaking. But are you doing, like, what are you doing now in terms of music?
So I took a long hiatus because mothering and careering. So medical school here is 6 years instead of 4, which it is in North America. And then you spend a lot of time in your residency, working long hours, studying long hours, and then finally getting your qualification at the end of all of that. So there wasn't a whole lot of room to do a lot of music, but I sang for, weddings and family and just little functions and things like that every now and again. But in the last sort of couple of years, I've just started to get back at it a little bit. I've got a group of emergency medicine colleagues who we got together and played at a conference last year, so that was really fun.
I thought I could yell.
And
I should let you know that she's a mean ukulele player now too.
Yeah, and we did that video for our hospital. We have what's called district health boards here, so we have a certain area that we service, and we've got 2 hospitals there. And we did one of those sort of in isolation mass choir things, and so I led the music part of it, trying to get all these other non-musicians to sort of sing and play along. And then Garth, bless him, took all the videos and tried to line them all up so that it would turn out okay. And we put that out there as a thank you to New Zealanders for staying home in the COVID lockdown that we're just coming out of the other end now.
Right.
And I've recently made contact with a few other of my emergency medicine colleagues who are involved in various music projects. So we're just going to try and do a little bit more now that we have time. And then, of course, there's Garth and I. So we live on Esperance Road, and we've called ourselves Esperance Productions. And we've done, I think, 3 videos now. Yeah.
I saw one where you wore many hats.
Yeah, many hats, and it's our little lockdown fun. And poor Garth, he puts up with me. It's really nice. No, don't wait. What about no? Maybe we could change.
Listen, don't you dare lose your maritime accent. Now I hear it a little bit now. It's starting to dwindle a little bit. It's like, uh-oh.
Never. Yeah, never.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
A lot of abouts and where you going, and it's fun. A bunch of people come up from the States, and they say that we sound like we're from New Orleans or something, the way that we talk here. So it's funny. So what's the music for a second? What's the healthcare system like over there compared to what it is in Canada?
It's a lot like Canada in that we have a full sort of public system available, but we do also have a 2-tiered sort of thing. So we've got private stuff that's available for people as well if you've got insurance or you'd like to pay for it. Interestingly, family doctors or GPs aren't heavily subsidized. They're just partly subsidized. So actually, when you go to your family doctor, you have to pay out of pocket. But the hospital is free. And we've got something called Pharmac that sort of look after all the medicines. And so anything that's funded for your prescriptions, you just have to pay $5 per prescription. So there's not that sort of exorbitant, for prescriptions that we tended to have in Canada. But otherwise, the system's it's more similar to Canada than it is to the United States.
We had Paul Pike on here, and Paul was saying he was living in Alaska, and he said the straw for him was that his daughter broke her arm And because somebody in the family owed money, they would not put a cast on her arm. And he said, that was it. I'm heading back.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Are they crying out for doctors there like they are here? Like, is there a shortage?
It's not nearly as bad here as it is at home. There's a little bit of a shortage, but it's not, it's not too bad. You can still find a family doctor without, too much searching. And yeah, it's not as big a deal.
What's the population of Auckland?
Auckland's about 1.5 million.
Okay.
And all of New Zealand's about 4.5 million. Okay. So the whole country has about the population of Toronto.
Wow.
So, and here's how bad it is for doctors here. I was doing a job the other day on a construction site and had a mask on, and somebody came and wanted to sign me up to see if I would consider going into the IWK and working a shift. I mean, we're really that hard up for doctors here. It's to the point where we're trying to pay people to come here, and it's just, we're short. People don't even have family.
And it's been like that for quite a long time too. So I know that there's been some nurse practitioner clinics that have picked up some of the load for you guys, but it's dire, isn't it?
I will give you 10 Canadian dollars to come back and be a doctor here in Halifax.
Oh yeah, we kind of like it here.
About that, Dave. Yeah, it's summer all the time here. Yeah, so no, yeah.
We'll give you a mug too.
Oh, now the mug is a different story. Now that might be an incentive for sure.
Yeah.
But Kathryn, we're super proud of you for everything you've done, everything you've accomplished. You're having fun. I just love watching you and Garth's videos and just your stories. And you're just, it's heartwarming to see, like your family grow like that. It is. I know you just got a new home recently, and she was in the hot tub last night. We were going to have Kathryn on last night, but she was in the friggin' hot tub. Oh, sorry.
Was. We're so lucky to be, to have had our lockdown, which we are. We were into our new place. We recently had a new decking built and our spa. When my son turned 15 in March, we bought him a ping pong table. So we've got lots to do, and so we're not doing too badly here. I was hoping we'd have a little bit of a twofer, and I could get Garth on here, but he's on a conference call downstairs.
Oh, okay.
But we're
glad to see that you're still playing. That's good to see. The music for me to watch you sing again, it's like, oh, there she is. There's Kathryn. There's your voice. You haven't lost it at all, hon. Seriously, you haven't lost it.
It's so fun seeing all of you guys and reconnecting and touching base and watching what everybody else is doing as well, and all of your lovely posts, Dave. So honest and reaching out and basically loving everyone. It's wonderful.
Yeah, what we the goal of this whole thing, and I mean, we're a little over 2 weeks in. I mean, you may have heard there's been a lot of really sad stuff that's happened here a month or bit, and we didn't want to necessarily avoid it, but we this was a place where, hey, let's have some fun, let's uplift everybody. One of the things I have unfortunately encountered is there's a lot of people like yourself that aren't living here anymore that are kind of pining a little bit for home. So we're mindful of that too, because it's I know when I lived in Toronto, I spent 7 years there, and I was happy to get back. And but that being said, it sounds like you guys are having a fantastic time down there, and things are great. So I mean,
and we're really lucky to be here, and particularly with everything that's been going on around the world. But we thank just so thankful all the time that we're here, and that our Prime Minister listens to reason, and he's dealt with a mass shooting here last year.
That's
the
right.
most shootings. We've had our White Island Whakairi volcano explosion this year, which killed a number of over 50 people, I think. And now with the COVID, everybody's dealing with that all over the world. And so we've had, some similar disasters going on here, but we really do, our hearts go back to home in Nova Scotia, and we still have all of our families in the Maritimes. So we, definitely would love to be there and give everyone hugs if we were allowed.
Well, and it's lot of crappy stuff has happened, but resilient people here, and it just seems something happens and everybody kind of pulls up their drawers and kicks whatever's going on in the butt, and so that's been really good, which is nice. 2020, I remember New Year's Day, I was like, 2019 was just okay. 2020 is going to be awesome, and then a mere 2.5 months later, it started to go to shit. What do you do? But again, Dave and I, our whole outlook is something good's going to happen really, really soon. And this is why we're doing this, bringing folks like you to try to, put a spell on people. But just, hey, just a big theme that's coming in is it was a lot of fun back in those days, but there's still a lot of fun that can happen, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. Forward. Let's move forward. It's all good. It's lovely to look back though and to reconnect with everyone.
Oh, and it's just that that was kind of our vision. It was kind of like an old thing to do. We want to pay homage and reminisce, but we want to try to highlight about what can be going forward, and there's still a lot of talent here. Oh my God, and having some of the guys that Sean's playing with now. I don't know if you watched the episode of Lee Fleming Smith. Oh my God, you should see this kid play keyboards. He's 27 years old. And it's like he's got an and Kyle Boudreaux, who plays with Sean, another super talent, young fella, just
it's so incredible watching all of the music that's sort of bubbled up from all of this staying at home jazz. That's it's been just really amazing to watch.
We're talking a lot of my fellow guys and gals that are still playing. The theme is, if you're not in the basement practicing, you're going to be in trouble when you get back out there, because there's a lot of people trying to get a lot better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to get a ukulele so I can try and keep up with my friend Kathryn, you see.
Did you get a ukulele?
I got to find one. I'm going to look on Kijiji now. We'll see if I can't find one on the Kijiji there.
I inherited a bunch of instruments from my dad when he died. And so I've got his old fiddle, I've got two of his guitars, and one of his ukuleles, a baritone ukulele, and I've got my a tenor ukulele. So they're a little bit old and in despair, so I tend to play the ones that I bought rather than his. But yeah, they're nice to have. Yeah.
Right. Well, just keep on gracing our lives with your music, okay? Because you got a beautiful voice, and I mean that. You do have a beautiful voice. I'm loving watching the new stuff you and Garth are doing. And Garth is doing some great jobs with some recording too. And I know that's hard stuff. Now, I showed him a picture the other day. I had the same one. So it's a tough thing to learn. Like, so I'm like an old dog. There's holy Jesus, how does this thing work? But I mean,
And he's just really good. He's done software development and software testing, and so he can get on the computer and learn all these things quite well. And so he's basically got a little studio. He's got, is it Pro Tools, I think is what he uses on the computer, and then he's got I can't remember the name of it now, but he's got a video creating software as well that he uses to do all the video stuff with.
That's cool.
And he's just so good, and he's just learning, and we're just having a lot of fun with it, so it's really good.
He's hooked up with talent, so that's good.
Saying that, what's funny, I remember we went in and recorded that Jack Butler CD. It was $42 an hour, and we had $900 to do the whole thing. So you do the math on basically, and now you can sit in your own living room, your own house, and get it right.
You're done.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take a shout out to at all, Kat?
Pardon me?
Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Oh gosh, everyone, all the aforementioned people from all the bands that I've played with and who I don't see anymore. And please do say hi to Marcel for me. I'd love to just say hi to Marcel. He's so gorgeous. And yeah, no, I don't know. Everyone.
Marcel's the Benjamin Button of rock and roll, because I saw him a month and a half ago, and he ages in reverse. He's got the shocking gray hair. I mean, he's like George Hamilton. You know what I mean? It's and he's still man. I tell you, he's just he's same old Marcel, right? And he's got that French accent, which we all love, right? So.
Well, he was always just so lovely to me. I was really lucky I didn't get caught up in a lot of the nastiness of the music scene, because the people I had around me were all really lovely people.
It's true, That's fair to say, Kathy. I mean, I could say you kept it classy, you know, really, and I mean that sincerely. Like you kept it classy and consistent talent, and no, we're really proud of you, and you're worthy of this Women Who Rock the Maritimes. You really are. So.
Well, and did you see the hit Sahara Jack video that was posted on the site?
Mm.
GR from GR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a few of the. He posted the one with the reunion. I think that was just before I moved away, and I'm not sure if I was moving to New Zealand then or to BC to my dad's. But I just got a whole bunch of people together who I'd used to play with, and I think Knucklebones played right after that. And yeah, Sahara Jack wasn't together anymore then, but yeah, that's good. He's got another one as well when we were together from the Misty Moon as well.
Yeah, he put that. 93 and GR, it's funny, I just I reconnect with him on social media, and he works with a friend of mine, and two things I learned about GR: he's still a crazy bugger, he always was, and don't ever argue with him on social media.
I love my GR. He's so cool.
Good guy.
He's got a great big heart, that man.
He does. It's true. Well, Kath, you know what, we really appreciate you being on the show. I know it's middle of the afternoon there for you. Probably bedtime for Sean. Not together, of course. That'd be weird. But it's we just appreciate you being here. Yeah, it's 2020, whatever. I suppose.
And we'll try to get you a mug, but the running joke now is we're renaming our show the Seacrest Momoa Show.
It's actually Sean's running joke, and after that he'll post a fucking GIF about it. Is what he'll do. So anyhow.
Yeah. More money. Dave's got more money though. So say hi to the G-Man, because Garth and I kind of reconnected a month or so ago. Just he sent me a whole shitload of people I haven't seen in like forever. I'm the worst historian in the history of every band I've ever played in, but it was cool to see. So
hang on just a sec. Let me see if he's still on.
I'd like to see that purple beard. We got about a couple minutes here, there, or pink beard, whatever color it is now.
And just while you're doing that, just before we got on here with you, Carl Anderson, it's his birthday today. I don't know if you remember Carl.
Happy birthday, Carl.
Yeah, so Carl, he sent, it was myself, Ron, Chad, Carl, and a couple of his buddies and Carl's girlfriend, and we just did a little birthday Zoom just before we got on with you, so it was kind of fun.
Oh, awesome. I'll just see if Garth wants to come up and say hi. Little 2-for-1 for you today. Hey, Garth, come up. Come upstairs.
The guys from the talk show are on the TV, hello. Come on up the stairs, hello.
I might have to go downstairs. Hang on. I might have to walk.
Make sure he has pants on.
Oh, there he is. Pants on?
No.
We'll come and say hi to Dave. And,
there he is.
What's up, bro?
What up, brother?
What's up? How he's going? Good.
You're getting 2-for-1 now. Garth Blake.
Well, Carl. I just got off the call with Carl. You guys were just on.
Chad and Ron and Tracy was throwing a few back.
Yeah, she was there. Loud.
Yeah.
She was there.
True, man.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, good. You joined your guys' page. Well done.
Yeah, really fun.
We have
right. Well, now it's an official page.
Out of those mugs.
They're swag, brother. They're swag.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We're working for mugs and gift cards, so we're it's not going.
Doesn't have to be gas cards anymore.
Nice.
Gas is keeping up. And yeah, I love what you guys are doing, Garth. The same Kath earlier. The videos are fun. They're keeping things light and just look like you guys are having a blast, man. It's awesome.
Wow, it's been nice to do. We've got some extra time on our hands at the moment. Everybody being at home and whatnot. So it's been good. So we'll do a few of them anyway. Get a few more out there. Yeah. Cool.
So far as Women Who Rock the Maritimes, so Kathryn, seriously, it's on you, hon. You're like we're proud of you. We are. Oh, how fucking cute is that?
Hey, Dave, you and I do it. Dave, you and I do it.
Other one, Dave.
This one here?
You gotta.
Good. I can't see.
That was a nice try.
Good effort, boys. Good effort.
Big budget show. Anyway, great seeing you guys.
Nice to see you too.
All right. Thanks very much for coming on. Take care.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me. It was really lovely.
All right. All the best, guys. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Peace out.